Hello, and thank you for joining today's webcast entitled Office 365 and Agile IT, the Modern Workplace. My name is Josh Wishay, and I'll be today's MC. I'm what they call a Microsoft Partner Sales Executive, and along with me is Tim Tetrick, my technical specialist, who's going to be demonstrating Office 365 for you guys today. In addition, we've got Brian Long of Agile IT who will wrap us up with some insights for you around making the move to Office 365 from a migration and deployment perspective. It's worth mentioning I've worked with Agile IT for over half of my 10-year career at Microsoft, and they really continue to impress. Not only do they have one of the largest base of active competencies, but they're extremely efficient and a joy to work with. So if you choose them for your move to the Microsoft Cloud, I'm confident you'll be glad you did. And during today's presentation, we're going to talk about business challenges at a very high level, along with some trends and emerging themes Microsoft has observed recently in the way businesses interact with information and technology. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. The world has changed, right? We live in a world where devices outnumber people and create more data than people can consume. And in fact, in the US, the last that I heard is it's about 3.5 devices per information worker. And the pace of change is faster than ever. Technology has led to disruptions in our personal and professional lives. And we used to talk about these disruptive trends as if they were in silos. So you've got consumerization of IT, bring your own device, Internet of Things, right? These trends are still important and have impact by themselves, but their combined impact is greater. And we really need to reimagine productivity in order to remain successful as individuals and companies. And when we're productive, we make things and we make things happen. Sometimes on our own, but it seems that more often it's together. And Microsoft recognizes this and is excited to share with you how we're essentially democratizing technology by bringing enterprise class capabilities and solutions to the masses, to businesses of all sizes. And we hear about our customers' business challenges every day. It's very important to us to source what's happening and how you guys are feeling. And they tell us things like we need anywhere and anytime access to files and business tools to stay competitive and also to keep costs down. They tell us that their data needs to be secure and that they need to know that their company is protected from viruses, malware, theft, etc. And many come to realize that they can actually level up in this area as they learn that the security and compliance parity gap, if you will, that used to exist between on-premises and cloud solutions is now gone. They also tell us that we need modern solutions that foster collaboration and help us get work done more efficiently. And customers also want solutions that will inspire, that are exciting to use. They tell us that we need solutions that will evolve with us and let us stay connected no matter what, or where for that matter. And then, of course, zero downtime is a must. You can't afford downtime. It's very difficult to put a cost of an hour of downtime, let alone a day. Companies, they just can't stomach it. There's no downtime available within their picture, and it's just a must. Zero downtime is a must. And then we want to start using the cloud to our advantage and save money along the way while spending smarter. And we've seen more recently how major IT decisions are really being heavily influenced, if not controlled, by the CFO's desk, as there are many financial advantages to moving to the cloud. Let me ask you this. Guess how many of the Fortune 500 companies in the class of 1955 are still listed today? Fewer than 11%. There are only 61 companies that appear on both lists, and 89% are gone. Half a century ago, the life expectancy of a firm in the Fortune 500 was around 75 years. Now it's less than 15 years and declining even further. And I'm sure you can guess how these statistics are even worse in the SMB segment. So what's going on here? Jack Welch put it best, I think. He said, if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, then the end is near. let's try to connect the dots on a few things. So the world is now a giant network, and it really is. If we could only see it all around us, maybe it would be like a scene from The Matrix when Neo gets his first peek into reality. Right? It's important to understand that the power of networks and their relevance to productivity and what our CEO Satya Nadella has deemed a mobile-first, cloud-first world. And really it boils down to the fact that we are greater than the sum of our constituent parts. And socially networked communications are rapidly taking over as a more effective way of exchanging information in the modern world. There's one recent study that estimates enterprise social platform usage will grow from 208 million users in 2013 to 535 million users in 2018. So what's driving this growth? Because networks are open and transparent by nature, they help unlock the siloed knowledge of employees and create what we're calling shared intent. And this accelerates innovation, responsiveness, problem solving, and learning. And people really feel more productive, and information flows faster and is more likely to reach the right people through networks than through hierarchical and point-to-point communication structures. So this change in communication tools, it's really putting massive stress on traditional organizational structures and that are built to control information flow. They suddenly need to accommodate networks that are more open and transparent and assume that decisions are made at the edges. Networks are also becoming the organizing principle for people to get together and create value. And the talent pool is now global, with 40% or more of the U.S. workforce expected to be made up of contingent or independent workers by 2020, which is astounding if you think about it. People will increasingly use networks to form teams fluidly around projects as needed. And this means that teams and collaboration are becoming more important. We used to focus on productivity tools for individuals, but in the information abundant world that we're talking about, the opportunity for this theme of value creation is really shifting to the collective. So let's talk about modern collaboration. Modern means two things in this context. First, it refers to the ubiquity of the cloud, with ubiquity or ubiquitous being everywhere at once. And this shifts us from a world of individual creation to real-time, anytime, anywhere collaboration and collective creation. The cloud provides a ubiquitous computing fabric to light up experiences and devices, from our data centers down to our customers' servers. And the cloud is also fundamental to the second area of ubiquity, which is devices. The cloud powers our devices, and we believe in a truly mobile world that revolves around us, so any device can become your device. Earlier, we discussed the need to move from tools focused on our individual abilities to tools that empower social productivity, to unlock the power of the group. And as the dynamics of where we work change, so are the dynamics of how we meet changing as well. Here's an example in the background. It's a Surface Hub and Link, now called Skype for Business, combined to create a new kind of modern meeting where you can join scheduled and ad hoc meetings with one tap that take advantage of HD video and audio experiences with intelligent sensors, microphones, and built-in dual cameras. And you might not see this in every conference room today, but we're not that far off, and the technology is here and it's getting cheaper every day. With Office 365, people can access the documents from wherever they are, on whatever device they're on. This is a theme that you'll hear me repeat over and over. Natively saving to the cloud, it's something that really changes how you interact with documents. Just as a personal example, in reference to a device that died on me and I needed a refresh, whereas before it would take me like a half a day to get up and running again, back to full speed. And now, because I use Office 365, I use OneDrive for Business, we have federated identity here at Microsoft, I'm up and running in under an hour. Not only that, with multiple devices, it doesn't matter which one that I'm on, because everything is stored in the cloud, it's easy to move from one device to the next and have that, just pick up right where I left off and have that same experience. So Earlier, we discussed the need to move from tools focused on our individual abilities to tools that empower social productivity. Ubiquitous cloud services and the devices that access them are just part of what we believe powers our vision of the modern workplace. And tools like Yammer, OneDrive, and features like co-authoring, it allows idea generation and crowdsourcing to essentially happen in real time. And now there's also this new Office 365 video experience, and you can read about this on our Office blog site, but we feel that video has emerged as one of the most powerful mediums of communication. And with Office 365 video, it can provide organizations with a secure company-wide destination for posting, sharing, and discovering video content from any device. So from onboarding new employees to distributing a CEO message company-wide, video is now a first-class citizen to power and enrich your internal devices. And we now live in an Office Everywhere world, from Windows to Macintosh, iPhone, Android, and we also believe people should be able to connect and be productive wherever they are. Let's look at Skype for Business again. In the first half of 2015, the next version of Link, it becomes Skype for Business. It's already out with many of our client tenants. And with a new client experience, a new server release, and updates to the service in Office 365. And really, it takes the best of Link and the best of Skype and puts them together. And we believe that Skype for Business will again transform the way people communicate by giving organizations reach to hundreds of millions of Skype users outside the walls of their business. I'm personally intrigued and excited to see how this is going to play out. I believe the intersection of these technologies, it's going to allow us to recognize the power of our networks across our personal and our work lives. Let's segue for a moment from this concept of ubiquitous collaboration and talk briefly about the challenges presented by infinite data, apps, and devices in a world of finite time. The global data volume is doubling in size every 2 years. By 2020, the digital universe, the data that we create and copy annually, will grow by a factor of 10, from 4.4 zettabytes or 4.4 trillion gigabytes in 2013 to 44 zettabytes or 44 trillion gigabytes. The number it's nuts, right? And the half-life of information is also falling fast. There was a recent study that estimated that knowledge becomes obsolete at a rate of 30% per year, leaving you with as little as 15% relevant technical knowledge within just 5 years. And the volume of communications is also exploding. There was a study done at the University of London that found that constant emailing and text messaging reduces the mental capability of by an average of 10 points on an IQ test. It was said that this effect is 3 times worse than smoking cannabis and similar to missing a night's sleep. So good luck being productive in that future work environment, right? So for data to be meaningful with the volume that we have to deal with, it's got to be personalized by intelligent software and tools that understand the context of why people do things, not simply what they do. The work that we've already done shows where we're headed and differentiates us, I believe. At the platform level, Azure Machine Learning, as an example, provides powerful cloud-based predictive analytics. For the end user, the Office graph uses sophisticated machine learning techniques to map the relationships between people, content, and activity that occurs across Office 365. It will also power experiences across Office 365 like Delve and Clutter, where insights are derived from a user's behavior, their relationships to content, topics, and to other users. So personalization is key, but equally important is the ability to drive insights into the data. Whether it's a student using predictive charts in Excel or a customer using Power BI to gauge the effectiveness of their clients' campaigns in real time. So Office 365, it's the platform that democratizes business intelligence and enables not only personalization of data, but really crucially helps people drive insights into their data. So as we evolve to a truly mobile world that revolves around us so that any device can become your device that you use, the risks associated with our devices and cloud services increases. Consumer reports have stated that last year in the United States, over 3 million mobile phones were stolen, and over about 1.5 million were lost. So it's vital that we secure data on these devices in transit, in the data center, and have a method to authenticate the individual. We must focus on the personal challenges of protecting individuals and their devices while also guarding against the macro threat of cybercrime. Our approach to these challenges that are really intensely personal as well as threatening to the broader organization is to focus on what we call people-centric compliance. Now, people-centric, it's a bold statement, but it's not just about individual users on the front line, nor is it solely about IT administrators. People-centric is our aspiration. It's a relentless focus on empowering people without compromising compliance or security. Let me expand. So too often an extreme is chosen. It's either security at the expense of productivity or flexibility at the cost of protection. We're focused on making security a natural part of the tools that people use and are comfortable with every single day. If organizations put onerous ways of working in place to secure data, end users will just simply find a workaround. So our best-in-class security, it's been developed over decades of building enterprise software and online services. And our privacy by design ensures that customer information is only used to deliver services and not advertising. And our compliance leadership has been earned by driving and adopting compliance standards in support of our enterprise customers' needs. And now we're bringing all of that to the masses, once again, to SMB, to mid-market. So we highlight an example on the slide of data loss prevention here, which customers like Aston Martin have been using to prevent data leaks from their organization. We have these conferences called Ignite conferences, and when I first heard about data loss prevention, there was a story that was told that I got to retell to you. Essentially DLP allows administrators to define policies which protect them from people accidentally or nefariously sending confidential information via email. The administrator has the ability to do one of three things. They could either say, look, we're going to do policy tip notification and alert the end user that they're about to send confidential data, just maybe in the pilot phase of filling them in, hey, we've got this new tool, but we'll still let them send whatever they want to send. Secondly, we could do the same tip but say, hey, you can't send this. You've got to either remove that data or reattach the file and make sure that second tab doesn't have any social security numbers or what have you, right? And then the third option is to BCC the compliance officer and let it leave the network. Well, the story was told that there was a large organization that put this in place, and at the end of the day, they were walking out one of their C-level executives in handcuffs because the compliance officer who was BCC'd saw that he was selling confidential information to one of their competitors. So that's just a quick story that I picked up along the way, and it's fascinating to think about. So DLP, it's people-centric, and it's no matter if you're the designer, the IT pro, or the risk officer. And this is just one piece of the puzzle, and we've worked on integrating with our enterprise mobility suite a comprehensive and cost-effective solution for your enterprise mobility needs. We're a mobile-first, cloud-first company, right? Our focus is on the cloud, and our engineers lead with Office 365. We're making at least monthly updates to the service and have full transparency into the roadmap with the Office 365 public roadmap. And this doesn't negate the importance to Microsoft of hybrid scenarios, which is a big differentiator for Microsoft amongst our competitors. And for some customers, on-premises clients and servers, we're committed to the next version of on-premise software and anticipate these releasing in our second half of 2015, with these products remaining in mainstream support through 2020. And our engineers are now not just responsible for shipping a DVD and giving it to customers and then their involvement is over. They're now running a service, and that's changed how they build the software and our release cycles. And traditionally in the on-premise world, we had a 3-year cycle, and in the interim, there'd be service packs, right? We're now making updates weekly, monthly, quarterly to all parts of our service. Highlighted here in the slide are some of the most recent advances and those coming in the near future. We're also much more open about this than we've ever been before, and we now publish the public roadmap that I just mentioned. It's really a fantastic resource, and it gives great insight into where the service is going in the near term and in the future. So I encourage you to take a look at that. So what is Office 365 again, right? We've talked about all of these themes and concepts and compliance and security and leveling up. So I wanted to show you a full plan lineup. The way that I try to help customers think about Office 365 is first and foremost, it's Office, right? It's the full version of Office with the ability to download the bits directly to your machine as if you would installing via a DVD. But not only that, you can install Office on up to 5 devices per user subscription license. And if you remember me talking about how the average information worker in the US has 3.5 devices per person, this can be a blessing. So you can have the Office experience in this ubiquitous collaborative format across all of your devices. So first and foremost, I'd say it's Office, and then secondly, it's a bunch of services that we wrap around Office, including Exchange Online and SharePoint Online, and now Skype for Business. And so we have 2 different primary plan types. We've got the business plan and the enterprise plan for our commercial customers. And I would say that I'm not a huge fan of the nomenclature of the word enterprise, just because I feel people see that and they say, well, that's not really for us. But let's go back to that idea of you leveling up, of you obtaining a competitive differentiator, or speeding up your time to market, or protecting yourself from a compliance perspective. And looking at some of these advanced services in the bottom left here, we just talked about data loss prevention. There's also another feature, rights management, RMS, and message encryption, which allows you to determine who can forward and who can reply and who can do screenshots or print a specific email per your definition of the feature. There's also compliance with archiving, e-discovery, and litigation hold. And by the way, all companies, regardless of their public or private status, fall under the Federal Rule of Civil Procedure Amendment, which essentially defines email as discoverable evidence in court proceedings. So it's extremely important that you have a story there and you have your act together when it comes to archiving. And that feature alone can save you tens of thousands of dollars if you ever were involved in a litigious event and unfortunately you didn't have these features. So strongly consider you to take a look at that and really lean towards the enterprise plan, regardless of what size business you are. So in your discovery process, take those into consideration and keep that in mind. The business plans offer great value, but if I was a small business, even if I was a 5 user, I'd still look at the enterprise plan. So that's my pitch there. I think it's easier understood when you see some of these things in action. So at this point, I think we're going to turn it over to Tim Tetrick. And Tim, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your time, and I'm excited to see what you have for us in store with your demo. So at this point, I'm going to flip it over to you, and you have the floor.
Okay, thanks a lot, Josh, and hello, everyone. I just want to spend the next 20 minutes or so walking you through a hands-on demonstration of Office 365. And we're going to start the demo here in Outlook, which is part of the Office 365 Pro Plus desktop client that comes with Office 365. It includes Outlook as well as the other Office applications you've come to know and love, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. So lots of great features and capabilities to talk about here. Let me show you just a few of my favorites. One of those is a feature called Peeks. Peeks gives me just a quick view into my calendar without having to switch into the full calendar mode. I can also peek into my people or contacts and into my tasks. Touch mode gives me the ability to quickly move between a touch mode interface and between a mouse and keyboard interface, depending on the type of device I'm on and depending on how I want to interact with that specific device. Next, Office apps. So you can go out to the Office App Store and download some cool little apps right into the Office environment. One of those I'll show you here as an example is called the Bing Map app. So the way this works is whenever there's an address in an email, it will automatically pop the Bing Map app, and then I can click on that if I want, and it'll automatically map that address into a nice little inline interactive map right within the Outlook client. A DLP, or data loss prevention, a really powerful feature that allows me to prevent sensitive information from either accidentally or maliciously being sent outside of my organization. So let me show you how this works. You can see here I have an email with a credit card number in it. Let's say if I try to forward that email to someone outside of my organization, you'll see I get this little pop-up message letting me know that this message appears to contain sensitive information. Make sure all recipients are authorized to receive it. If I hover over the policy tip here, you'll see it even recognizes specifically that there's a credit card number within that email. So a lot of power here with data loss prevention. I can set this up so that it'll prevent users from being able to send emails. I could set it up so maybe it warns users or specific groups of users, but will allow them to override and send the information anyway. And in that case, maybe I want to blind copy a compliance manager or something like that. There's templates out there to look for common, types of sensitive information. I can also set up, custom sensitive types of information to look for as part of DLP. Rights management allows me to send encrypted and protected emails to other users in my organization. So let's go in, let's start a new email here. Let's say I have some sensitive information in this email that I want to send to someone else in my organization. If I go up here to options and under permissions, you see I have some permissions I can set here on this email. So for example, I can set a do not forward. So in addition to this email being encrypted, it also will set these do not forward permissions that allow the recipient to read the message, but they cannot forward. They also cannot print or copy the contents out of the message. There's also another capability under rights management called Office 365 Message Encryption, which will allow me to send an encrypted email to anyone at any email address. The online archive. So there's an online archive which provides a repository for archiving email, which replaces the traditional kind of PST file model. Some plans in Office 365 even have an unlimited storage archive in addition to their 50 gigabyte primary mailbox. So a number of ways you can interact with this online archive. I can drag and drop items to it. I can set up folder structures. Another thing I can do actually is set up policies. So I can set up archiving policies so that items will automatically be moved to the archive after a certain amount of time. There's also compliance archiving available. So also known as in-place hold or litigation hold, which will permanently retain mailbox items in the archive even if a user tries to edit or delete them, and you can go back as a compliance manager and do e-discovery and recover those emails, again, even if a user tries to delete them or edit them. You get the full calendaring capability with Outlook that you've come to know and love, that rich full calendar support with the ability to share your calendar and view other people's calendars subject to permissions. People gives me my personal contacts, complete with contact photos, all the information that I need to get at from my personal contacts. Next, let's look at the Office 365 portal. So this is a web-based portal where users and admins can get access to all the services within Office 365. It includes this nice little app launcher navigation experience that allows me kind of a single point of access to all the services available to a user. And this app launcher is a persistent icon up here in the upper top left-hand corner of the portal. No matter what service I happen to be in, I can get access to the other services. So, for example, Mail gives me browser-based access to my email from virtually any browser. So not only supported on Internet Explorer, but supported on Firefox, on Chrome, Safari on the Mac, allows me anywhere access to my email. If I happen to be on a shared computer or a kiosk somewhere, I can still get access to my email. And as you can see, the interface is very similar to the Outlook desktop client that we just looked at. So no need for you or your users to learn a new interface. And a lot of the same great features. My online folders are showing up, my in-place archive, my online archive. I can drag and drop items. I get the reading pane. I get things like conversation view. All these great features making their way over to the browser-based Mail client. I can also get access again to my calendar and to my people or contacts. Again, cross-browser support, anywhere access. And by the way, even though we don't have time to really show it today, Office 365 also works together nicely with your mobile devices. So your Windows tablet, your Windows phone, iPhone, iPad, your Android-based phones and tablets, allowing you to seamlessly connect those devices to Office 365 and get your email, your company directory, your calendar, your contacts, your tasks, everything that we've just been looking at here so far. And each of those platforms also has native apps for accessing your Office documents for both viewing and editing. They also have native apps for accessing the other services that we're going to be looking at here in just a minute. Things like OneDrive for Business, Skype for Business, the other services within Office 365. So let's talk a little bit about Skype for Business now. So Office 365 includes Skype for Business Online, previously known as Link Online, to provide you with instant messaging, presence, streaming audio and video, screen sharing, web conferencing, all together in one service. So one way you can interact with Skype for Business Online is via the Skype for Business desktop client. That's what we're looking at right here. We'll also see Skype for Business actually flows through into the other services and applications as well. So I can go into the Skype for Business desktop client. I can set up users and groups of users that I frequently interact with. And you see I get some information back on those users. I get contact photos, and I'm also getting presence information. So presence is really the real-time status information of users. And the reason it's important is it allows me to make some really great decisions on the best way to interact, to communicate, collaborate with my colleagues when I know their status. So for example, if I have a quick question for Amy here, I can see that she's away from her desk. So I'm not going to bother trying to reach out to her via instant messaging or via calling her desk. Maybe I send her an email, she can respond later, or maybe I call her cell phone if I really need to get a hold of her. But with Julian here, I can see that he is in a green available status. So if I want to communicate with him, maybe I choose to reach out to him via an instant message. I know he's at his desk, he's available, ready to take my question. If I hover over his name here, I get these click to communicate buttons for reaching out to him. I can easily start an IM conversation with him, for example. So I do that. Maybe we start communicating over IM back and forth. At some point in the conversation, maybe I want to escalate this IM conversation into more of a full-blown communication and collaboration session. So what is really great with Skype for Business is with just a click or two of the mouse, I can escalate this IM conversation into a video conference. You see I get a nice little video preview there before I start my video. I could also start a Skype call, an audio call. I could also start sharing. So I could start presenting my desktop with Julian. I could present and share a specific program. I could upload a PowerPoint file that we could start collaborating on. I could add attachments and shared notes. I can even do things like whiteboarding, polling, Q&A, really powerful capabilities within Skype for Business. Again, the ability to pick the communication and collaboration method that best suits my situation. And this ability to communicate and collaborate, as I mentioned earlier, not just available via the Skype for Business client. Instant messaging, presence, actually flows into the other services as well. So just as an example, let's go back to Outlook here. We'll go back to mail, and as we can see here, I can see Amy Alberts. I can see her presence information just like I saw it in the Skype for Business client. I get these quick click to communicate buttons. I can again quickly start an IM conversation. I can do audio, I can do video. Skype for Business flowing into the other services. And not only Outlook, also the browser-based mail client flows into SharePoint as well, as we'll see in just a few minutes. So Skype for Business can also be used for scheduled web conferences as well. So we looked at this kind of on the fly, ad hoc communication, collaboration, but it can also be used for scheduled web conferences. And let me show you how that works. Let's go back into Outlook here. Let's say that we have this email. I'm going to respond to this email with a meeting request. And let's say that I know that some or all of my employees that I'm inviting to this meeting are going to be remote, and I want them to be able to join via a remote web conference. So through this nice little Skype meeting plugin into Outlook, with one click of the mouse, I can automatically turn this remote web conference or this meeting into a remote web conference. So when any of my attendees get ready to join and they are remote, they can just go in and click the Join Skype Meeting link. They will be entered into the meeting here. And as you can see here, if they're using the Skype for Business desktop client, it's the same experience that we just looked at, right? The same ability to do instant messaging, to do video, to do audio, to do screen sharing, all those same great capabilities available to me, whether in a one-to-one communication collaboration session through Skype for Business or through a scheduled web conference. This web conferencing capability supports up to 250 attendees, both internal and external attendees. So if I have external attendees that want to join, or if I have even internal attendees that don't have the Skype for Business client on their desktop, they can easily join through the Skype for Business web app. Downloads right into the browser, cross-browser support allows any of those users to have all those same great capabilities that we just looked at. Instant messaging, streaming audio, video, screen sharing, all of that. We also have, I mentioned earlier, Skype for Business mobile clients that allow you to join Skype meetings from your tablet or phone with cross-platform support, iOS, Android, and Windows devices. So next I want to talk just a little bit about Yammer, and then we're going to finish up with OneDrive for Business and SharePoint team sites. So first, Yammer. I'm going to go back into my Office 365 portal and launch Yammer. So Yammer comes with Office 365 and provides social networking for the enterprise. As you can see here, it looks a lot like some of the consumer social networking products that you may be used to using in your personal life. And you get the same benefits with Yammer that you get with those consumer social networking products. So you get the ability to share information with others in your organization. You get the ability to learn from others, connecting with others in your organization in a very unique way. So you can, within Yammer, go in and set up groups, subscribe to different groups you want to follow. You get, activity feeds, commenting, doing hashtagging, and @mentions, things like that. You can also follow people, topics, conversations. Ultimately, Yammer providing you with the ability to share, learn, collaborate in a way that you just, wouldn't be possible without a tool like this. So just a brief talk on Yammer. So now let's talk a little bit about OneDrive for Business. So go back up into our app launcher, go to OneDrive for Business. OneDrive for Business is your personal document library. It's the place for individuals to store and share their work documents and other files. Each user gets 1 terabyte of storage today, and that's going to be going to unlimited storage in the future. So you can see here's my OneDrive for Business library here. I can quickly go up and look at the documents that have been shared with me by others. I have access to a recycle bin, which keeps deleted documents for up to 90 days by default. I can go in and recover those if I want. Just to show you a few of the features capabilities within OneDrive for Business and managing files. And keep in mind, these are the same capabilities that I'm about to show you that are available in SharePoint team sites as well. And we're going to look at that in just a second. So just keep that in mind. But great features like document previewing. So if I'm looking for something in a document, instead of having to open the whole document, I can just go in here and quickly preview, interactive preview of the document contents. Also, the sharing experience is really, really great. I can share a file, I can share an entire folder, I can share an entire site. I can share not only internally, but externally as well. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's say I want to share this particular file out. I'm going to click on that and go to share. I can go in here and put in the names and email addresses of the people I want to share with, again, internally and externally. I can choose what kind of rights I want them to have, edit rights, view rights. I can include a quick email if I want to send this in an email invitation, or I can also just go out and get a link if I want to include this in maybe a different email or another document or something. And then I can also manage sharing. I can go back and say, okay, who have I shared this document with? What kind of rights do they have? I can change the rights on the fly. I can stop sharing. I can even email everyone with an update. So really powerful sharing capabilities. Syncing, definitely want to talk about that as well. I can do offline syncing. So if I go up here and say sync, we'll say sync now. Let me know my files are being synced. I can go ahead and take a look at them. And you see here all my files up in my OneDrive for Business repository being synced down to the local machine. This is going to give me not only offline access, but also this is a two-way sync. So if I want to add more files into, I prefer to work with files on my local desktop right within Windows Explorer. I add files in here, they'll automatically get backed up to OneDrive for Business. They're safe and secure in the cloud, accessible from anywhere, a two-way sync experience. I can also drag and drop files into my OneDrive for Business repository. Very nice experience. Instead of saying upload, which I could do, or I can just drag and drop. So a very convenient experience there. Other capabilities to talk about, check-in, check-out is one capability you can do with managing documents, again in OneDrive for Business or SharePoint team sites. I can do a check-in, check-out. I can also do versioning. So I can set up versioning so that as people are collaborating on a document, making changes, I know those old changes won't be permanently deleted. I could always go back and view and restore an old document. And by the way, just a little plug again for Skype for Business. I remember I mentioned that the presence information and the click to communicate buttons flowing into SharePoint and OneDrive for Business as well. If I had a quick question for Julian, I see his presence here. I could go in and choose to reach out to him in the method that best suited us through Skype for Business. Okay, so let's finish up talking about SharePoint team sites now. So we'll go back up to the app launcher. We're going to go to sites. That's my SharePoint team sites. So SharePoint team sites help keep your teams in sync. Team members can access a SharePoint team site to do things like store, share, organize, collaborate, and access information from almost any device. So from within sites, we can go in, we could promote as an administrator. I could go in and promote specific sites that I want to highlight to my users. As a user, I can also go in and follow specific sites, and those will show up here. So let's go into our Contoso team site here. This is my company intranet site in this example, and a very common use for SharePoint. I'll have this company intranet site. I also have these team subsites here that I can go into for all the different groups in my organization, HR, operations, sales and marketing, etc., etc. So let's go into the sales and marketing site. While we're here, I just want to highlight Power BI real quick. If you're not familiar with Power BI, just to give you a quick view into it. So Power BI, really powerful, allows you to build and host some fantastic BI reports. that you can build using Excel and then host in this nice little dashboard. So you see these interactive BI reports that I have to choose from. I can go in there, start getting some important insights about my business. So let's go back to the sales and marketing team site. So let's say that I'm part of an account team working on the Northwind Traders account. Again, keeping teams in sync. Sometimes it's project teams, sometimes it's organizational teams. I'm part of the Northwind account, so I'm going to go in here to the Northwind Traders sub-site. You see in here I get some information. I also get some things like some business intelligence, some key performance indicator type stuff. I'm also getting a document library, a very powerful feature of team sites, right, where there's documents that a team needs to share, collaborate on. I can have a central repository for those. And as I mentioned earlier, all those same capabilities I talked about in OneDrive for Business also available with SharePoint Team Site Document Library. Those things that I talked about, like doing document previewing and sharing and syncing and versioning. You also have the ability to do co-authoring, where multiple people can actually work on a document simultaneously. And just to finish up here, I just want to show you just briefly how easy it is to actually create these SharePoint team sites. You look at this, you probably say, those are really cool, but what does it take to be able to create these team sites? Well, a lot of what you can do just right out of the box, very simply and easy. And let me show you what that looks like. I can go in and say, subject to permissions, say new, create a new team site. It takes just a few minutes to provision one. I have one here that I provisioned recently just to show you once you go into that new team site, we have this nice little wizard experience for stepping you through customizing your site. So you can go in here to share your site, set up permissions, who you want to be able to access the site and what permissions they have. You can go in here and add little web parts into your team site for tasks, timelines, calendars. You can start changing the look of the site. You can do branding, adding logos, things like that. You can also add list libraries and apps, and I want to go into that real quick and just show you the power here of these existing apps that are out there. You can go in and again, quickly and easily add a document library, add a task list, a site mailbox. There's also these other apps that you can add for things like, here's a Yammer app for SharePoint. It shows Yammer feeds right within a SharePoint page. You have third-party apps that you can go get out of the SharePoint store, like this DocuSign for doing electronic signing of documents right within SharePoint. Great little app. You can go out into the SharePoint store here and look at all of the apps that are out there, pull them down into your SharePoint team sites, start really enhancing the team site experience. So, thanks for watching. That's all we have time for today. So at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Josh. Josh?
Awesome demo, Tim. Thank you very much for that. And folks, at this point, we are going to switch gears here and introduce Brian Long of Agile IT, who's going to talk a little bit about their accolades and their history with Microsoft, as well as what they bring to the table for you and Office 365. So, Brian, thank you as well for joining us. And now I'll flip it over to you.
Thank you, Joshua and Tim, for such a great presentation. And what I'd like to discuss briefly is why over 500 organizations have chosen Agile IT to assist them with making a seamless transition to the cloud. As I'm sure many of you are aware, emails become a very critical business application, and so if your users cannot email, a massive amount of productivity will be lost. So it's important that you select an experienced partner who can ensure your employees never miss a beat and mail flow is transitioned from your current provider to the Microsoft Exchange Online service in a seamless fashion. Microsoft has over 100,000 partners worldwide, but we are one in less than a dozen which have 9 or more goal competencies. These competencies are not just based on technical competency, but also customer satisfaction. So our customers are happy with us, and we do not have a single customer who isn't fully deployed to Office 365 and using the platform successfully. Not only are we very competent, but we also have the knowledge of 500 plus migrations under our belt, and we can provide your team with this knowledge in an effort to set you up with long-term success on the platform. Many of our customers enjoy the cloud so much that they want more of it. They'll ask us to move their servers to the cloud, and we have all the expertise to help fulfill your complete vision and strategy for cloud services as an Azure Circle partner. To become an Azure Circle partner, you must be invited by Microsoft. So we're true thought leaders in the Azure space across the Microsoft community. Agile IT is also a top-tier Office 365 partner for migrations, known as a Cloud Accelerator partner. By working with a Cloud Accelerator partner, you're able to tap into some additional resources that we only have access to. We've been recognized as Microsoft's Cloud Partner of the Year for the past 3 years in a row. So we're obviously very proud of our accomplishments we've made in this area. And at the end of the day, our focus is on your success, and we guarantee it. And we have all the industry accolades to prove our thought leadership in the cloud. With that being said, I'd like to step over and talk about our fixed price service to migrate from your current mail program to Office 365. We do need to capture 100% of your active mailboxes. This is important because we take ownership of those mailboxes to ensure they all transfer successfully. As you extend out your network, identity becomes an issue, and be able to provide that seamless experience for your customers, we can help you design the right systems in place to be able to effectively act as if the service is locally, but it's extended out into the cloud, and provide that seamless experience for your users. We have all the project teams assembled, the methodologies and process that we've learned over many, many migrations that we'll be applying to your project. And at the end of the day, security and your data is our #1 priority, to make sure everything comes over successfully. As you move to the cloud and as you provide new services to your users, such as a new version of Office, training becomes important. So we have a great learning site that we give out to all of our clients during the 60 days of post-migration support that we include at no charge. This has videos on all the Office programs in different levels. It also has videos on OneDrive, on SharePoint, on Lync, and Office 365 with quizzes and great short clips to really provide a good way of getting the adoption that you're looking for with your users and with your IT staff. What we see most common beyond these projects to migrate to Office 365 is moving the file share data off your file share to, say, OneDrive or to SharePoint. It's a pretty natural transition we continue to see over and over again. We also can help you adopt a server cloud solution with Azure. And so that's our Agile Data Center product. And then extending out and providing Lync as a phone system or just ongoing IT services. Those are some typical paths that we see from our customers that hire us to move them to Office 365. We have great references. We have lots of case studies on the deployments we've done. We have over 145 independent customer reviews on Pinpoint. I welcome you to read some of those comments on customers that have used us. And we'd just like to thank you for joining today's session. If you're in the position where you're considering a cloud migration and need a partner to help make that a seamless transition, please do give us a call. Our website's Agile IT, and we hope to hear from you.